Bitcoin had this dip last night where it went from about 53,000 to 50,800, and honestly it wasn't even really a dip. It was about 4% and we recovered from it very quickly. If you zoom out, you can't even see anything. The 1 month scale, you cannot see the dip. At the same time, Bitcoin ETFs have closed their best week ever with a 2.5 billion US dollar inflow. This is the largest week on record. And these institutions that are buying up the Bitcoin, they're removing them from the exchanges. As you can see on Coinbase, we've dropped to a 9-year low with a $1 billion withdrawal. But what does this all mean for the price? It means it's going to go up. It's becoming more scarce. The institutions are buying them up and trying to push out the retail investors. And what happens when the price goes up? And if you think that we've already pumped too much this year with about 300% gain and it's too late to get in, it isn't. If history repeats itself, the bull market peak will be around 500 to 550 days after the halving. That means that we're going to get the all-time high on Bitcoin and hit our top at around October 2025. And what happens once Bitcoin pumps like this and goes on a parabolic rally? Well, if you remember from my other video, once the profits have been made in Bitcoin, people will cash out and put them into larger caps and then mid caps and then low caps, all in an effort to increase their gains. And we are already seeing this now. As you can see, Ethereum's gain over the past year, and last night it even crossed the 3,000 USD threshold. But let's look at some smaller altcoins now. We'll start with ATOR. It's a privacy protocol, and recently it broke this resistance of 1.2. Tried to break it back in January, but it failed, and it tried again a few days ago and succeeded. And in the past 3 days, it's up about 20%. As you can see over here, there's no friction either, so I wouldn't be surprised if this just rallied up to that 1.7 mark. And next up we have TRIAS. Just keep in mind that all of these graphs are on the daily candle. So TRIAS tried to break through this 17.5 mark in around December and failed, and since then it's just been going through this wedge structure. A few days ago it broke out and it's rallied up from around 14.6 to around 16.4. It tried to break through that 17.5 again but failed, but it looks like it's going back up, and maybe it'll either break through or it'll be a double top and it'll just come back down there. We'll keep an eye on that. Next, we got XAI Games. This was only released in January. It's made by the same teams working on Arbatum. It tried to break through this 1.25 mark a couple times and then dropped down and made its way back up. Broke through it a few days ago and it's rallied from 1.2 to around 1.4. Last night it even hit 1.5 for a little bit but bounced back down. Then we have CentropyNet. They're in the data sector, and I first mentioned these guys at around 80 cents. Since then we've rallied up over 100%, broke out of this ascending channel, retested it successfully a few days ago, and now it's just been rallying. It went from about 16 cents to around 22 cents. Tried to break through that a couple times and failed. And keep in mind this is also a local high, because they have been much higher before. We'll keep an eye on that as well. And last up, I just wanted to mention Radix as well. They have not been performing as well as some of the other projects, but they have one of the best communities I've ever seen. And if it breaks this structure, which has been forming since May of last year, there's going to be a big rally. It looks like we're trying to, but it's going back down to retest. And we'll keep an eye on that and see what happens, but this will be a big one. There's a lot of other alts that I'm keeping an eye on, and I'm posting my live research, so if you want to stay updated with that, just head on my Twitter. I'll have a link in the description. And you can also find some more info on the website at getdigital.com.